Now that we've talked about how to do the research and how to put your information into an outline for the persuasive speech, we're going to talk about making the slideshow. This should actually be fairly quick and easy because all you're doing is copy pasting the information from your outline into your slideshow. So let's first of all get rid of this slide here and go back into my outline. So here's my outline, and now I am going to put in a new tab. And I'm going to go to, oh, you know what? I don't even have to do that because I saved it as a Word document. So let me just pull up the Word document. It's going to be in my work folder in, let's see, sample assignments. There we go. And it was the most recently modified thing. Sample persuasive speech outline. Okay. And that should be the one that has my sources on it. Yup, there it is. Excellent. Okay, so I can just go right here and go to Docs Home here in the upper left corner. And then I use the menu here, main menu, to bring up slides. Now, Google will provide you with some templates, but I have found that the templates sometimes don't work as well as you might want them to. For example, there's one down here that people really like. It's this gray background, sort of a gunmetal gray, and it does look nice, but it's got, for some of the text, it's got this light gray. And if you're in a room that's lit well enough for us to see your face as you do the presentation, it actually may be too light for us to see this gray on gray. So if you use this one, I would change the text color to be white instead of gray for the subtitles there. Let's see, I kind of like this one. However, I am going to have to monkey with it just a little bit. So first of all, I do like to have a blank slide at the beginning. That way I can say my attention getter without giving away the actual topic too soon. So you can build suspense. It looks nice and polished for you to have your slideshow already ready. And it's I like having this design here because it won't just be a blank screen. It shows that it is my slideshow. We're just not giving away the topic yet. So I'm going to, oh, here we go, insert a duplicate slide right here. And this one's going to have my actual title on it. So after I say my attention getter, I'm going to put, let's see, community colleges, or community college in general. Good deal or the best deal? I think good deal or the best deal. It is the best deal. Okay, now I'm going to hit another, let's see, I'm going to insert another slide. Insert slide. There we go, new slide. And for this one, let's see, what shall we do? We're going to have our preview. So this is where I bring up my outline. And for my preview, it's right here. Control C to copy. Control V to view. I know it's going to look weird for a second, but we're going to fix it. All right, I'm going to select these, and just so I have enough room to work here, let's go. It doesn't need to be 42. I'm going to go with size 30. It doesn't need to be big enough for us to see, but it's small enough that obviously it fits on the slide. And I don't want it numbered. Generally in slideshows, you don't number things, you use bullet points instead. So delete those numbers and just use the bullet points. Okay, and I don't need a subtitle in here. Here we go. Problems with university, community college solves. Imagine in future, oh, and that should actually be capitalized because I'm using title case here, which means I'm capitalizing the first letter in long words, not in prepositions, but in long words. So, and I can put a title up there. I am going to put here, insert text box right here. And for my title, I am going to put community college. You'll notice it's defaulting to making the text black. That's okay, I can fix that. I am going to make the text white. Very simple, and I want this to be big, so let's make it 36, 48. 48 might turn out to be too big. Let's see. I don't know. 48 might work. I'm just gonna, yeah, ooch this over. Ooch being the technical term. Yeah, it's lined up. Looks good. All right, so you don't want to label your preview. Remember, you want to avoid speech jargon. You don't want it to sound like you're a student in a speech class doing this for an assignment. You want to sound polished and professional. So you label your preview, whatever the title of your speech is. Come on. Oh, there we go. There we go. Bring this down just a little bit more. All right. Community college, problems with university, community college solves. Imagine in the future how fabulous life will be when you go to a community college. Now let's insert another one. Insert, new slide. And for this one, we're going to do first main point, which was problems with university. Control C to copy. Control V to view. And here, let's move this up. I'm going to put the title in later, but first I'm going to put this here. Control V, and again, it is trying to make it white. So let's, sorry, it's not making it white, it's making it black, which is too hard to see on that background. So let's make it white again. And it's using my outline format because I'm copy pasting from the outline. So you want to take that out. And problems with university, let's make that bigger. That definitely needs to be bigger. I think you don't want to go smaller than about 24 or possibly 18 because the people in the back of the room won't be able to see it. So let's make it 24. Actually, let's make that one 30. And these can be 24. And they can be ooched over. Let's see. Now, your sources go at the bottom of the slide. So actually, let me move this up so I just have more room to work. I'm going to ooch this up a little bit. And you know, the title is going to now be Problems with University, because that's my first main point. So the title for this slide, Problems with University. Let's make that bigger. 36. I like it. And then this can be moved up. I don't know why it's putting that extra line space. There we go. And down a bit. Actually, sorry. Insert another text box. I'm going to put it here. And I'm going to just go ahead and make my font white. There we go. And this is where I am going to put my sources. Control X to copy. Control V to view. I don't want them in parentheses. Okay, but I do want them to be on the slide. Thank you very much. Okay, and I think it'll be easier to read if I do that. Whoops, undo whatever I just did. There we go. Now I'm gonna select these. And I'm going to try to adjust the spacing. So I need more room so it'll help give me my options here. Here we go, line spacing, single. And remove space before and remove space after. Thank you. Let's make this a little bit smaller and over to the right. And these, you want to use a smaller font for your sources. So I'm not going to have them bold anymore. You use a smaller font for your sources than for the body text. And again, your sources don't go up in the body text in the slides. They go down at the bottom where your audience can clearly see them. And when you're presenting your speech, you will say, according to both Investopedia.com and Discover.com, the average student loan debt per borrower in the United States today is $35,000. So we'll be able to tell what information came from what source because of how you say it in the speech. So I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. Let's make it 18, I think. Yeah, that's much better. And we'll do Chronicle.com, Control X and Control V. And And once again, that's going to be 18. And you want to use a sans serif font. Sans serif means it doesn't have the little dots on the edge of the letters. So let me show you a difference between, so Arial is a sans serif font, that's fine. Times New Roman is serif. So it has these little, see these little extra edges at the sides of the numbers, sorry, at the sides of the letters, the little extra thingies sticking out, those are called serifs. So it's actually a little bit harder to read if you have those serifs, especially online. So nowadays we recommend a nice sans serif font. You can use Arial, you can use Helvetica. Let me show you Helvetica. Whoop, I said I could show you Helvetica. EFGHIJKL. Well, it may not have Helvetica. That's why we're defaulting to Arial. There you go. And it looks nice and clean. So problems with university, cost, quality, and now if you wanted to, you could, oh, let me fix the spacing again. I probably should have waited until I had this all in here to fix the spacing. That would have saved me some time. So go to here, single spaced, and delete. Turn. There we go. I'm going to move this over. Move this over. Move this over. Move this over. It's the magic of ooching. Move that down just a titch. There. I think that's very nice looking. Now, if you want to add a little color, you could make your sources bright yellow or just a slightly different color. Let's see how that looks if I change the color. What if I made it, doesn't have to be the brightest yellow ever. Let's go to custom. What if we made it like, oh, that's a little too brown. Ooh. It's kind of light gold. I kind of like this light gold. There, that looks nice. So you can do your sources in a different color and that can add a little pop. You can also add some art. Like, let's see, can I insert an image? Let's search the web. Clip art. Free clip art. What I need is a shocked look. Yikes, because, you know, $35,000. Wow. Let's do this little emoji. Insert. And it looks big, but ooh, we'll just make it small. Whoa. There, how's that look? Whoa, I kind of like that little guy. So you can add a little interest by putting in some clip art here and there. All right, so you can tell what I am doing, and I'm not going to make you sit and watch me do this for every single slide. Now that you know what I'm doing, I'm going to pause the video while I do the remaining slides, so give me just 1 second. Now that I have made my slideshow, and you are glad that I did not put all of it in the video of the entire process of making the slideshow because it took me more than 2 hours. But now that I have it, I'm going to go through and show you what I came up with. So I'm going to start off with this blank slide, and that way I can do my attention getter without giving away my topic too soon. Sort of build suspense. And then I have a title slide. You're going to put up your title slide when you say your thesis statement. And I wanted to show you here how to insert animation, and I had already brought it up to show you, but I'll go ahead and show you again. So let's say I want to animate this item. I would go to Insert and down to Animation, and let's add animation. I'm going to fade in on click, and yeah, that's what I want. You can preview it. You can hit play and click, and there it goes. And then you hit stop. You send this away. So that's how you add animation. So I've got my blank slide. In fact, let's just show, oh, one other thing I want to show how to fix a problem. You don't actually want your text to go overlap with a pattern or a picture in the background. It doesn't look polished, it's too busy and distracting, and it can make it hard to read. So I'm just going to ooch this over. Technical term, ooching. Ooh, going to ooch it a little bit more. Maybe a titch more. There you go. So if you have a picture or a pattern, make sure that you don't have text overlapping with the picture or pattern. So that was something I wanted to show you as well. Now here's how you're going to present. You're going to click, if you were doing this For a presentation in front of an audience, you would hit present up here in the upper right corner once you had brought it up. And I have two monitors, so it's bringing it up on my other monitor. Let me move it over here. So you start off with your nice blank slide, you say your attention getter. So I would say something like, Francis Bacon once said, knowledge is power. So, and then that would be my attention getter. And then I would say, speaking of knowledge, where do you get knowledge? At college. Where do you get the best knowledge? At community college. So we're going to talk about community college. Good deal or the best deal? Community college, reasons why you want to go to a community college. We'll talk about problems with the university. Community college solves those problems, and then looking into the future. So first of all, problems with university. According to Investopedia.com and Discover.com, the average amount of student loan debt in the United States is currently about $35,000 per borrower, per individual. That is a ton. We don't want that. That cost is too high. There are also some issues with quality, at least at the freshman and sophomore levels, because according to Chronicle.com, the emphasis at universities, especially large universities, is on research and not teaching. And that's great when you get to be at the higher levels, right? When you're a junior or senior, you're going to be working with the actual researchers, right? So you're going to get that cutting edge information. But at the freshman level, that means you're probably going to be taught by teaching assistants and graduate assistants instead of the actual professors. You're probably going to be in a class with like 100 people. And then maybe for the actual teaching and learning, as I think of it, you might be broken into smaller sections with the teaching assistant or grad assistant. And those assistants don't even have their graduate degree yet. They're there because they're working on their graduate degree. So you're not necessarily getting very much interaction with the actual professors at that level. So those are some of the problems to be aware of. Now, how do we solve these problems? Community college. Let's talk about cost first. Oh, by the way, y'all, when I was creating this slideshow at the beginning, you may have noticed that I put $700 an hour for the cost at UNT. It's not actually $700 per hour for the tuition. I went and looked it up. I was like, that just sounds like too much to me. So if you notice that something seems odd to you and you're like, that just doesn't sound right to me, always double check it because your instinct is probably correct there. So I went back and looked, and UNT tuition is $230 an hour. And then they also have some fees that can raise it up to about $700 per hour. But Collin College also has some fees, not up to $700 an hour, but so this is basically just tuition. And that's still quite a big difference there. So you go to Collin College, you're going to be saving some money over UNT. You go to a community college, you're going to be saving some money over a university. And I purposely picked a public university because private universities are even more expensive. So that would have been just a wild disparity. If you're interested in that, you can look those up and see just how expensive private universities are. So let's look at the actual cost comparison. I broke it down for you. So 1 hour at UNT is $230. 1 hour at Collin is $54. So 1 hour at at Collin versus UNT, you would save $176. 3 hours, $690. Whereas Collin, 3 hours is $162, savings of $528. And then 4 classes, and then 8 classes, and then you go down to 2 years, and you're saving about $10,000. $10,000 in 2 years. So if you go to Collin College for your first 2 years and then transfer to UNT, you are going to be able to basically pay for your last 2 years of college by having gone to Collin College for your first 2 years. With your savings, that'll cover almost your last 2 years. And that's only counting 4 classes per semester. If it's 5 classes per semester, the disparity would be even greater. You'd be saving even more money. Now, we already talked about the cost differences. We're also going to talk about the quality. And here I would say my personal example of how I used to teach at UNT as a teaching assistant when I was working on my master's degree. And then once I got my master's degree, I taught at Collin College, same professor, same textbook, same course content, everything. And at that time, Collin College was about $37 an hour, and I believe UNT was, I don't know, like $137 an hour. It was quite a bit more. So again, exactly the same education for a much lower price. And I got to interact with my students one-on-one, and I had a master's degree. So it was definitely, I think my students were getting a better education with me at Collin College than they were at the university where I was working as a teaching assistant, because at that point I hadn't even gotten my master's degree yet. So there's my personal example. And I may cut that out. If it's too long, I may just cut that out and just focus on these studies. So I found these studies at ohiohighered.org and etsu.edu, where they found that students who transferred in from universities had a roughly 15% higher graduation rate than students who had started at the university. I think it's because, again, at a community college, you're getting more one-on-one interaction with the actual professor. You've got smaller classes, you're being taught by people who actually have their graduate degrees, and that solid foundation makes you better equipped for those higher level classes once you become a sophomore and a junior. So there's good solid research to indicate that students who transfer into a university from a community college are actually more likely to graduate. And you want to graduate because you need that degree. There's a lot of research that shows that people who have degrees, college degrees, obviously make better money than people who don't. Next, let's look into the future. Imagine you have gotten your degree, you have graduated, you got your degree, you don't have the debt that you would have had if you had done all 4 years at a university. So your future's so bright, you have to wear shades. You are looking at a bright future where you can buy a house, you can live your life without having to be saddled with enormous amounts of just student debt. $35,000 is just the average. That means some students graduate with much, much more student debt than $35,000. So yeah, if you don't want to spend your first year working, dedicating pretty much your entire salary to paying off your student loans, the community college route is the way to go. Side note, I have a lot of students who are quite wealthy. They come from wealthy families. Collin College is in Collin County, which is a fairly affluent county. And yeah, they are going to a community college because my experience has been that rich people don't get rich by just wasting money. Rich people are really good at finding good deals, and getting a good solid education without spending enormous amounts of money is indeed a good deal. So now we have talked about problems with university, or going to university for your first 2 years, how community college solves those problems, and looking into a very bright future once you do your first 2 years and get your basics taken care of at a community college. So here's what I want you to do. Tell your friends, tell your family, spread the word. Make it known that community college is a great deal. With this knowledge, you have the power to make good decisions. Use that power wisely. So that's how I'm going to do it. And I have a blank slide at the end in case I accidentally click at the very end. I don't want it going out into the software. I want to have a nice blank slide at the very end. So that was my first run through, and I think it's going to be fine. So when you are rehearsing, you want to rehearse standing up, going through your PowerPoint or your slideshow just like you would in the actual speech. So I will obviously do several more rehearsals so that I can smooth it out and time it and make sure it's what I want. But that's how you research it, organize it, and put together your slideshow for a persuasive speech.